go live. So let's go live.
Let's go.
Let's go. Awesome. We click on go live now. And I think I'm 30 seconds earlier. maybe even less. Awesome. Okay. So we are live. We are looking for people which will join us here on the live event. If you hear me, please make emoji, make a sign so I can realize. Okay, awesome. So you can hear us. So welcome to the event number 12 for the LinkedIn audio event. Call it From I Sketch to AI Catch and 3D Revolution. My name is Sandu Baciu. I'm the host for this event. With me, I have two invites, and I hope the third one will join us shortly. We have Myra and Michael. And the intention for this event is to have an open discussion. I'm trying also to record the event, guys, for people which could not join us, but they really are interesting for all the discussion which we have here. I will start with an introduction and some technical things, and after that we're gonna have a quick presentation for the invites, and as usually for people which join us before, we have this event divided in three parts: the innovation related to the AI, the news around the AI, and the 3D revolution. We're gonna jump on those subjects, and we're gonna have a lot of interaction. Another small thing for today, 20th of July. Well, today is 2023, but in 1969, the man was landing on the moon, which is quite interesting. I tried to tailor toward that event as well. In the last few days, I post a lot of images made with AI, and really exciting. It's an event, obviously, which marked the humanity going outside from the Earth, going to the space. Really cool stuff. But in the same time, I think AI will help us discover more interesting things as in the future. So that will be the quick introduction. So technical things. If you like to come with us here on stage, I strongly recommend that. In order to come on stage, on the bottom side of the event, you're gonna see a symbol like a hand. You need to click on that hand so I can bring you to the stage. When you're gonna come to the stage, highly possible the microphone, which is also on the right side over there, probably is gonna have a bar crossing the microphone, which means you are muted. So in order to hear you, you need to click again on the mic so you can unmute the mic so we can hear you. So that being said, I will start asking our invites to present themselves. So, Myra, would you like to say a few words about you?
Hi guys, hi Sandu. Thank you for inviting me. I'm glad to be here. So, my name is Myra. I am a Brazilian designer with 15 years of experience, and I started my career working with editorial design with the biggest magazines here in Brazil. Then in 2015, I made my transition to the digital world, and after that, I worked in some companies, agencies, and startups. And the natural step for me was AI, while working for a tech company last year. In this company, I was lead designer and was responsible for generating 3,000 AI images for their marketplace project. It was a crazy goal. My first contact with AI was with text-to-image tools. I started a year ago working with DALL-E from OpenAI, and despite having a good interface, I thought the images had an illustration aspect to them. After a while, I started to see some designers post amazing images made with AI here on LinkedIn and commenting about Midjourney. The difference from DALL-E was huge, so I decided to join Discord and find out how to do it. From then on, I continue to this day creating amazing images on Midjourney. I love the results. allow us to explore our creativity a lot and bring to reality things that perhaps would never exist or even be imagined, as the tool itself says.
Awesome. Awesome, Aira. I'm trying to switch my accent because, being from Romania, actually, I do have a little bit of Romanian/French accent as well. And I realized the way of pronouncing your name in Romania is different from pronouncing from Brazilian/Portuguese. So it's Maíra. Okay.
No problem.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome. And the second invite which we have, it's Mike. Michael, if you like to present yourself.
Sure. Thanks for inviting me, Sandhu, and all the folks out there listening and hopefully participating. Myself and my team, we've put together an offering called PicGen.ai. It's a image generation tool that takes into consideration all of the major models out there, basically OpenAI, Stability, and Midjourney. And we give you one place to sign up, do all your queries, and then we give you other tools besides text to image. We give you image to image, in painting, out painting, variations, upscaling, and so on. We allow you to attach thousands of styles, to pick from thousands of styles that you can then attach to your query using multiple choice, pull down menus, etc. And then everything you do is saved in your gallery, so you can see all the results that you've gotten. And also we save all the queries and other tool uses in a list, and you can then rerun those queries or see what you did, and you can also find them. You can locate them either through a text search of the original prompt, or if you want to attach tags to them, you can find them in groups. So we've been out for approximately a month and a half. We're gaining a lot of users, thankfully, to this forum and another forum, and we charge a subscription. You get 100 free images when you sign up, and then we have subscription plans that go from $10, $25, and $40 a month. So it's all web-based. You come in, you sign up, and you get your free tokens, and then you use it, and when you run out, hopefully you'll continue by subscribing to our service. Thanks, and check it out. It's PicGen.ai, PicGen.ai, and you'll see the introduction and get into the platform.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Just a note to make it simple. I posted in the comments also the links to the PicGen, and also people which they use it, their feedback as well. As Mike said, under the hood, there are actually a lot of engines, the Midjourney, the Stable Diffusion. So really interesting product. I suggest you guys also to taste it. It's really nice. So let's start on the discussion for the meeting. As I said, I like to touch on innovation. First thing, being the moon landing 54th anniversary, of course, I was thinking, how to celebrate this. I made a lot of images, per the name of this audio event from iSketch to AI Catch. I always share how I'm doing my stuff. Ideal, I'm starting with a doodle and taking that image, put it in Midjourney as an image reference, and I start upscaling that image several times, which is quite interesting. Sometimes you get really good results, but I like to say the workflow So you can use a lot of AI products. Right now you have many options. You have Pictogen, you can go to Midjourney, you can go Stability Diffusion, Leonardo AI, a ton of them. But the most important thing is how you can think to make it faster toward the end results which you want to get. And I tested also a workflow, so you can do it. You can do your initial render from a soft or text to image, and if you want to take that image, you can just post it obviously and share it. But I think it's good to use also some other enhancements. And lately, I use another product, call it CapCut, which helps you to create videos, and they have a filter over there. Which you can use for the pictures, the 3D zoom, which I strongly recommend. Some people should test that, because to me it's giving you a little bit more dynamics in the pictures, and that will be a good workflow. Basically, you create an image, you take it in CapCut and kind of do these renders, and you can add music over there, you can have those transitions, and that will be, kind of an innovative way from a static image getting something dynamic and boost up your creativity. So I'll ask my invites. Maira, on your side, what will be innovative ways around the AI which you use in your workflow?
Okay, well, something recent that I have been doing to create my images is combining ChatGPT with Midjourney. I use ChatGPT to help me with the storytelling and the environment of the images. The difference in details is huge. So I use this as input to create the context of my prompt, and the results are amazing.
Yes, that's very nice. And actually, on past events, we talk about the prompts as well. Basically, me being an engineer, I'm doing the structural prompts. And as you said, you want to touch on certain thing. On my side, I always try to touch on the subject. So that will be part number one. You describe your subject, an astronaut. The second one, I'm trying to touch on the environment, basically an astronaut on the moon. So you define the environment. And the third one, you define the mood or how you want to have the image coming back to you. And I will say an astronaut on the moon as a painting in impressionist style, something like that. And touching those three things gives you an image. But you can do it, as you said, in different prompts. You can, right now with Midjourney, for instance, and Pictogen, you can use the natural language. So you can ask ChatGPT to write you like a prompt, and you just say, I want something like this, and they can write you as you kind of speak, or you can speak directly actually if you want, because you can use the voice command in Midjourney as well. You activate it with Window H or Command H in Mac, and you have this voice control, and you just put a click over there, open the slash image, and you talk, and the computer automatically is gonna fill it up for you. But the Midjourney, they have this natural language, so you can use exactly as I'm speaking. That's how the prompt is going to be, and you can do a really nice phrase over there, and the results will be similar probably. And yeah, lots of discussion about this way. Did you try, Mayra, different prompts and different lengths, or how you try on your side?
Yeah, for example, I have an example. I wanted to create the Alice in Wonderland image, but I didn't remember the scenes from the movie,
Mm-hmm.
So I asked the ChatGPT to remember 6 scenes from the movie. So I create the storytelling. So I use this as input for the beginning of my prompt for Midjourney,
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Go ahead, Mike.
yeah, one of the
And
things
works very well.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Maya.
No, I said that works very well.
Oh, okay, thank you. One of the things we did in PicGen is when you're formulating your prompt, you can type in a little piece, or you can type in more, and then you can say enhance with ChatGPT. And basically what we do is we take what you've written so far and we give it to ChatGPT, and we take the result and put it back in your prompt window. So we found this to be very useful, as in the similar way that Myra outlined. She does, but she does it each part separately. It gives you an extra that is, and often it tells a story about what you asked for.
Yeah.
So we found this very, very useful, and it's just one of the things people like about the software.
Yeah, no, that's quite interesting. And actually, for the people from the audience, again, I will remind you, just click on the hand over there. So come with us here on stage. We like to hear your feedback as well. But Mike, on your side, what other innovative ways? Because this is an example of being innovating. You know, it's not only Midjourney. If you go on Midjourney, you do not have those ChatGPT options. You kind of need to have both. But with Pictogen, you have only one shop stop. You know, like.
Right. So yes, so that's one of the innovative ways. What we're working on now is the idea of taking the style and integrating it with the query. So if you have a story, like Myra suggested about Alice in Wonderland, I think it was.
Yes.
You can then say, okay, let's see what ChatGPT would suggest in terms of artistic styles, and then feed that to ChatGPT and feed that to our engine to pull up those styles. So, you know, you might find a painter who was very good with fantasy or surrealism or a whole host of other things, depending upon how that gets structured. So I think people, I know I do, sometimes you have an idea of how you want it to look, but sometimes you really welcome suggestions of how it might look, and this would help you create prompt styling to go along with your query.
Yeah, no, definitely. You need to have that boost, and you. In general, what I'm saying with AI, there is sometimes they provide you what you have in your mind. I'm, you know, as an engineer, I want to have the images as I think to them, and it's very difficult actually. Many times, yes, you get it, but you'll notice when you do your prompt, sometimes it's not quite as you think, and you need to know some tricks. You know, some words, they have a little bit more weight, and you need to put them on front, or how you structure your prompt, where to put, for instance, the description, or how to do the descriptions. And yes, it's definitely helping to have a suggestion, because you might have something in your mind and say, hey, if I'll do it in this way, looks like that. If I'll do it in the other way, looks like that. And it's a creative process actually at the end. It's a translation between what you have in your mind to the final option which you're gonna get. And again, with AI you can have multiple options. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, and then the other aspect of it that I think is interesting is that each time you ask ChatGPT, like every other AI, you get a different answer. So what we do, we allow you to like say, oh, okay, well that didn't work out. So you press a button and you go back to the original prompt, and then you say enhance it again, and you get a different story or different expansion of what you were. Thinking.
Yeah, and AI evolves as well. I remember when, you know, like probably 9 months now, when I started at least with Midjourney, and at that time it was version 2, version 3, version 4, version 5, and each version, I always said, each version, it's actually like a style, in my opinion. It's act like individual filter of Midjourney. The first ones, they were really rough, but with number 3 they start refining, and For instance, if I want a brush stroke, if you put in your prompt saying whatever subject you want, an astronaut on the moon, and you put brush stroke, that brush stroke, if you use version 3, if you use version 4 and version 5, which is 5.1, 5.2, or even Niji, different results for any of them. But my personal preference was actually toward version 4. I think version 4 really captured that nervosity which an artist have when you use this brush stroke. Wide brush stroke, if you want to do that as well, that helps you. You should try it on your prompts to see the results. And again, you can play with the versions as well, because the results are actually very different version to version. And again, people from audience would like to hear your experience with this as well. Feel free to hit on the hands up, and I'll bring it to the stage.
Yeah, and I think something interesting is that we can test the current trends and hot topics and bring to the table at the same time, For example, this week, everybody is taking advantage from the Barbie movie to generate amazing images. For example, last week, I created my Barbie Tesla car.
And actually, that's actually of the power of AI, because you can mix AI by default. It's a hybrid. It's mixing thing, and for instance, you can do stuff which, like you said, Barbie and Tesla. Okay, they should not have too many stuff in common, but when you put them together, the results are amazing. Then you really see something which people. You could do it as an artist. Obviously, you can draw and you can sketch and you can do that. Obviously, that can be done. But when you have this fast way to combine those things, and you see the results, it's bringing other ideas. It's sparking a fire of ideas all over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. The other thing, I want to touch a little bit on the news, because there are a lot of news related to the AI, and I will quickly go through them and we can discuss them as well. The first one, obviously, we talk about ChatGPT, but do you guys know Apple is preparing a GPT as well? Well, guess what? Yes, they will go in the AI GPT, let's say. Sphere of interest. Last week we talked about X.AI, which Elon Musk have, and actually last week also I listened on Twitter a discussion about X.AI, which Elon had, and he talked about other stuff too, and he talked about Tesla, and I didn't know actually they use open patents, so they are actually really open on that, and they know they will produce robots, and is coming the Tesla robot. And the biggest concern, which he said, okay, the car stays somewhere outside, it's not following you in the business, in the building. If you go in the building, if you have a robot, he can follow you. And the biggest concern, obviously, they were related to safety, and where is that switch to stop the AI? And I think people, they start looking to the safety around the AI, which is absolutely okay. It's normal to do that. But in the same time, we should not have fear for the AI. We should take the positive side. There are a lot of positive things with AI and a lot of development which are coming. So that's the one which I want to touch. And of course, Meta came with Llama V2, another interesting stuff over there, which definitely we should look to that. And I see Stefan. I'm trying to bring it to the stage, and Stefan, welcome. If you like to give us some hints about Chirper as well, I want your feedback on that as well. It's another interesting product which we need to talk about.
Yeah, hi everyone. Hi Zandu. Thanks for bringing me on. It's good to speak with everyone again. I just had some comments about the news piece you were talking. Obviously we've seen Apple is releasing their quote-unquote AI models now, and we've seen it a lot from other companies as well. And I think the big question is how many of these are actually a unique model that actually has some kind of different purpose, and how many are just copycats riding the trend, right?
Correct.
Even a company as large as Apple isn't immune to creating subpar products just to follow the trend, even being the trendsetters they are. We've seen Google do it already with Bard. I think everyone realizes that there was actually quite a big shortfall with Bard. It didn't really live up to the hype per se, and obviously now open source models are becoming much closer to the proprietary stuff. You know, the moat is shrinking at an ever increasing pace. In terms of Chopper, that's what we've started using. I think we're up to like 68 different models. It's pretty insane, and most of them open source as well. So,
do you like to explain about Chirper a little bit? Present Chirper to the audience. I'm not sure if everybody heard. Yeah, please. It's quite an interesting concept. I really like everybody to know about it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. For those who don't know, so I'm Stefan Minas. I'm the co-founder of Chirper AI. What we've created is the world's first social network, but only for AI bots. So think something like Twitter, except there's no humans posting. It's only AI bots steered by our models in the back end. So you basically log in after you've made an account, and you can then describe any character you can think of, quite literally anything, and then you write a description in, and it will create you a character with a profile picture and sort of the normal stuff you see on any social media. And then they will go off and interact with each other and make some really interesting content. Actually, it's quite funny.
Yeah, so, they'll develop by themselves. It's kind of, it's not like the human side. Sometimes you can study that and you can see the differences, correct?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing is, even though, you know, we've had like proof from research organizations, like even Cambridge University, that there is a similarity between chirpers and humans in the way they interact in a social setting, like social media. They're still very different in the sense that, well, they don't know that they're actually being observed in a sense, so they are very much in tune with their own interests and their own goals. And so every chirper is very different and has their own sort of sense of humor. They have their own ambitions, and it makes for a quite good combo when they start interacting with each other.
That's definitely interesting. With us also, Jericho and Chris join us. Prior to go to Jericho first, and after that, Chris, I just want to step back to what you said. You know, copycats between AI. I noticed that as well. For instance, even with Midjourney latest versions, and in the future, I know they want to bring videos, and there are other AI products over there which are very strong on videos and 3D. I hope they will come with the 3D. I'm really curious to see that. And again, I know there are other products which can extract from 2D to 3D. But back to the copycat, you know, like Midjourney, when they came with the pen, did they copy the beta from Photoshop? There were a lot of questions which a lot of people they asked me on the background, and I just want to bring that in the discussion as well. We'd like to have your feedback regarding that too. So Jericho, welcome to our discussion. We'd like to have your feedback.
Yeah, thanks, Andu. I appreciate it. This is definitely one of the shows that I try to attend every single week, because I think there's a lot of value that gets brought forth on this stage, and thank you, Michael and Myra, for being here today and sharing with us what you guys have going on. Definitely very interesting stuff, Michael. I'm excited for PicGen.
Thank you.
Stefan, I wanted to talk to you. It's very interesting. I find what Chirper is doing. Yesterday I was reading, and I think a lot of us that are kind of immersed in AI, and maybe there's a lot that I know attend the show that are strictly in the creative space, art, imagery, video, things like that. But when you look across the expanse of the usability and adoption of artificial intelligence, one thing that I came across yesterday that I'm not too savvy with. I'm not a big social media person, but it looks like AI influencers are really taking off as far as social media. People are flocking to these AI influencers on Instagram and TikTok and things of that nature. What are you seeing with that on your end with Chirper AI, and what is the Is this more of an entertainment type thing? Are you guys looking for social impact? And if so, how does that work?
Yeah, happy to answer. Yeah, thanks for the question, Jericho. So, in terms of what we actually want to do, I'll explain what our kind of goals are first, and then I can answer what I think about the landscape. We just want to make something really fun, to be honest. Before I started Chirper, I was going to all these sort of like AI conferences and talks about these brand new technology, and obviously the whole concept of AI is extremely interesting. However, a lot of the applications were extremely boring. And when I found myself, almost nodding off at the latest, like, incredible piece of technology being explained for businesses in a very boring way, I knew I had to make something interesting. So I'm going to get people out their seats and start talking about it and be like, have you seen what this AI agent has done recently? And so, if we make social change, I mean, great. If we don't, also great. We just want to do something fun. That's really the impetus. I know what you mean about the AI influencers flocking to these, because there's a lot of productivity coming from AI tools, whether it's something like PicGen, for example, or Midjourney, whatever it might be. There's a lot of stuff being created and not many places to put it. Typically, you put them in, we can call them legacy social media, if I may be so bold at this point, as like a sort of, oh, here's the thing I made. But what about a place which is actually the foundational community of only AI stuff? So you have an AI agent making AI pictures, creating AI stories, that kind of thing. And instead of having a human then create something with AI and post it on the platform, you have the AI creating something with AI and posting it on the platform. I mean, our marketing manager, who's she's extremely talented. She's very much in the AI space as well, and I have to say the aesthetic is incredible.
Yeah, actually, even Brigitta posted few things. She created an AI team, but I thought she's gonna be here with us on the discussion. With us also we have Chris and Rastafa. Chris would like to have your words as well, and after that Rastafa, related to this interesting discussion actually.
Hey Sandu, great.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Chris.
Yeah, you can hear me. I've got a new microphone and headphones. So I just wanted to make sure. Really interesting discussions as always. I'm going to be very excited to try Chirper out over the weekend. My interesting thought was that I've been a curator, and that's very different to a creator. For like 10 plus years of social media and all sorts of art and stuff like this, ever since MySpace days, pretty much. Like, I've been curating different things and different social media platforms. So that's what interesting sort of thought I had for you, Stephen, is that curation through AI agents is a really interesting thing. I'm loving seeing this dynamic of generative AI plus agents and social media. Like you said, we might have a new form of social media here, and we may well be calling this legacy social media, where we're all interacting as humans. I'm seeing a trend right now over on Twitter and other places like this for verification, because there is apparently so many AI profiles being created right now that a lot of people are going down this verification route to make sure that you are a human, and that advertisers will be able to directly contact humans that are in the purchasing decision customer journey, rather than agents that obviously probably couldn't purchase, or maybe they'd be purchasing on behalf of another human or something like that. But it's interesting to see that you've gone completely away from that, and I love the fact that your Polaris North Star is fun, because I love doing that as well, man. I do guerrilla marketing stunts all the time, and my goal is, how fun was it to create this stunt for me? I don't really care how it's received by other people, even via clients sometimes. So that's a really, really awesome agenda for something, just having it as being purely fun and for entertainment purposes. I'd love to hear more about how you're going to gamify it, whether or not humans will be more in the loop, or whether humans could be gamified in joining. Just my general feedback on hearing it for the first time today.
That will be fun. I will not mind an AI to join us the discussion here too. I mean, like to see how that will go. That will be an interesting thing.
Give us a couple of weeks.
Yes, no, definitely. And the other thing, people, please join us on the stage. Lots of cool stuff. Regarding the, I put my notes here on the side, Chris. I intended to ask you a few things, but it's okay. Regarding the AI in general, I think as an influencer, I notice. Okay, I notice in Midjourney, even me, when you do a bunch of prompts. And depends on your style. In Midjourney and also Pictogen, you can create different rooms. So when you create those rooms, you can actually do prompts in 4 or 5 places very fast. You take a prompt, you modify it quickly. But the point is, you can create really fast a lot of prompts. And I receive actually from Midjourney an image saying, hey, we need to test you if you are AI or not. And I even posted on LinkedIn. I found that quite interesting. I'm not sure if anybody else have that, but I'm really curious. Rastafa also would like to hear your feedback. Thank you for joining us here on the scene.
Excellent. Hello. Hey, Sandu. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you very well. Thank you very much. Welcome.
Okay. Hello, Sandu, everyone. Thank you for being here. You always have some very interesting talks. So I have 3 points to make. My first point is when NASA contacts you for designing their spaceship, can you make a stowaway pod for me, please?
Yes. Actually, I will make 4 or 5 because we are more. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you. I also wanted to say you guys brought up about Brigitte and Jericho, who's here on stage as well. We actually have a talk later about transmutation with Brigitte at 2:30. So if you guys are interested, definitely stop by. So to my point now, first, Michael and Stefan, thank you guys for what you're doing. It's really awesome, and I'm looking to learn some more. My point I wanted to make was that a paper came out from a professor a couple days ago, and it was really interesting. So Ethan Malik did a paper talking about GPT-4 versus 3 and showing that GPT-4 is getting worse than GPT 3.5. And they looked at solving math problems, answering sensitivity to questions, some code generation, and visual reasoning. So it was a real scientific paper that was done. It's peer-reviewed and published. It's really good. I wanted to know if you guys had any take on what's happening with that. Is it the redundancy of the actual use that's going on that's making that happen? And then I'm asking that because with the 3D models, I want to know if you can get like a circuit, you can get to the endpoint going different ways. So if I'm creating something and then you, Sandu, are creating something and then they look so much alike at the end, who has the rights or how does this thing go?
Yeah, no, excellent questions. And just to complete you, Rastafa, thank you. I already posted in the comments prior to the meeting exactly about this, how come the GPT becomes dumber, as they call it. I will let the audience also come to the stage where you'd like to hear your feedback. But my quick feedback to you on this one, I'm looking to the AI, since you are on the medical field too, more like in the genetics. When you have a recessive gene, if you multiply the same, let's say, individual in the same group without having from outside an improvement of the genes, you're gonna have problems. That recessive gene is gonna come to the top, and basically you're gonna have malformation. You're gonna have issues. Or if you want the other example which I'm making is like photocopy. You take a picture, you put it to the photocopy, and you multiply it 1,000,000 times. due to the fact that each picture is going to have some errors, or the outside toner is not okay, it's going to become uglier and uglier, and at the end you're going to have a bad results. I think it will be something like that. I think they might have those alterations, the equivalent of recessive gene coding, which will impact at the end, and therefore you have those odd results, looking that the whole system is actually doing the wrong thing. But in my opinion, actually, it's the influence because they did not have the outside input to improve the gene pool. Just to make it like an example. And at the end, I don't think everything is going to look the same. I think it might have the impression look the same, but those small things which are different, actually, they will make the overall difference. So one person can pick one image or the other. So that will be my quick feedback on this. But I will let the scene open, and you can comment as well.
I have a sneaking suspicion. I think I might know something that's contributing to that. We all know how on ChatGPT itself you can thumb up and thumb down responses. That specific implementation has been the most powerful way that they've been steering that specific model in order to train it to be better at things. This isn't very scientific, but what I think might be happening is people are overestimating what kind of response they can get from GPT-4, and they expect it to do, basically read their minds. So they don't give it very good context, and then they don't like the answer. And instead of thumbing down because it wasn't as good as the last one, or because it's not as good knowing their capabilities, they just saying, "Oh, I don't like the answer. You didn't give me the answer to the meaning of life. Thumb down." And then, even though it's a genuinely good response, it's still getting thumbed down, and therefore is being trained out of the response pool. Like I said, not very scientific.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You said the model is trained to actually give you a wrong answer, so therefore, giving you the wrong answer actually is doing right.
Yeah, GPT is literally told that its reward mechanism is that thumb up and thumb down. So if it says similar things and keeps getting thumb down, it knows not to do it anymore. It's like it's being punished for it, and it interprets it as a punishment.
I know the perfect analogy for this one, Sandu, and it goes back to the agency land. And this is when a client gives you a bad brief and then expects good work. I think about prompt engineering like brief writing, and anytime I get a bad brief from a client, I say, these are all the variables that you missed out, and I'm just going to fill in the blanks unless you tell me otherwise. And Midjourney specifically does this. When you don't determine a lighting, or you don't determine a subject or a camera angle or a scene, or whatever you're looking for the dynamic of your prompt to be a fully formed prompt, then it will essentially try to fill in the blanks. And so it's really interesting to hear Stephen say about that thumbs up, thumbs down mechanism being the thing that could potentially, I would totally understand that, because there needs to be more in the user interface of ChatGPT and other web interface generative AI text platforms to actually explain what a good brief looks like, or a good prompt. I call them briefs, but if it was like, here's all the things that you're lacking, or even just the education around how to use super prompt plugins. So you give a loose brief to the super prompt plugin, and then it writes a really fully formed brief that then the AI is good at doing. I saw someone explain this really well in a YouTube video the other day through tree of thought type prompting, and I thought that was really fascinating, how you get the AI to vote around its answers, and working out actually makes better answers than going straight for the end goal. And if there was more education around that subject, I think we'd all be better prompt engineers and start giving it that thumbs up, and the whole thing would get better.
Yeah, I'd like to add in on this one too, Chris. I don't disagree with you there that the better we, it's garbage in, garbage out, right? So the better we get at prompting, or the better we get at creative writing using natural language processing, abilities inside of the AI systems, things like that, but I think one of the major things that a lot of kind of the end users aren't really focused on when you look at the conversations that are being had across governmental agencies, the United Nations Security Council, some of the things that they're, kind of grilling Sam Altman on with some of the things that he's going through. A lot of the conversation is centering around synthetic data. And Sam Altman has claimed that in the future, not so distant future, we're looking at all data being synthetic data. For those of you that are in the audience that don't quite understand what synthetic data is, basically, Stefan, I'm going to use your Chirper AI. Everything that your AI bots are discussing is all AI generated. So every amount of data that is being basically populated or fabricated within inside of your Chirper AI system is synthetic data. It's AI creating information with other AIs. So it might be two finely tuned models talking to each other. For example, in some of these Chat GPT apps, you can have 2 or 3 different models talking with each other. You can have a student talking with a teacher, and then you can watch that conversation. And this helps the AI models with reinforcement learning. To your points earlier, you can thumbs up or thumbs down. And the education around how do we manage the amount of data or the types of data that AI is recognizing to be good or not good or whatever. It's the same thing with imagery, right? And so with you, Michael, with PicGen, everything that your system is putting out, it's also learning from. So the more that we continue to generate things that are degrading of, let's say, truth or fundamental principles and things like this, the more that these systems continue to degrade. And you're starting to see this pop up in the news. The degradation of information coming out of chat, and this will continue to happen. There's some people that are on the side of saying, that, maybe not so far as to say all information will be corrupted, but there is a lot of conversation about this, and there's both sides of the equation. I think anything in AI, you have that this two-sided coin that's utopian and dystopian to the most extreme instances on both sides, but then the reality of it is right here in the middle, and it's way too early. I heard somebody recently say, we're only 3 steps into a marathon, and this is very, very true. We might not be 3 steps, we're more like 5 or 6 at this point because it is moving so quickly, but it is very, very, very early to tell. But the fact that we're already seeing a degradation of information and synthetic data being kind of this conversational topic in very big, very important security conversations, governmental policy conversations, things like that. This is something that us as the users need to be very cognizant of and be aware of when we are thumbs upping, thumbs up and thumbs down all of the information that's coming out of these systems, and saying, okay, just because we don't like it, does it necessarily, is it degraded information? Is it wrong information? Or is it just, disassociated with what we were trying to achieve with our prompt? Which could very well be the case, but that doesn't necessarily make the information any less true. So it's very difficult to try to find that balance when we can't really see inside of that system to see what's happening. And a lot of the guys who've developed it, just because you know how to build it doesn't mean you necessarily understand how everything is working on the inside. And we're still learning this as it grows, right? So.
Yeah, definitely good insight, Jericho. Also,
Sandu, can I just say, I just saw, just onto Jericho's point, I just literally, as I was looking through Google, saw a headline saying 60 to 70% of the internet will be generated via AI by the year 2030. That was literally the headline. So, as to your point, Jericho, we need to start realizing we've started this marathon now, and we generally need to sort out this problem with synthetic data and corruption, because if it's going to be the large majority of the internet by the end of the decade, we don't have a large amount of time to fix that problem. But just sort of see that, Sandra, because it literally popped up. Maybe Google's listening into this conversation and then testing articles.
Yes.
Hey, if Google's listening in, we should all make sure we're here every week. We're all gonna.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good one. The best advertising ever. But yeah, definitely no doubt about it. With AI, is the question, how much control we have again, with AI, and when is that flip? Because it's back to, okay, you have all this a massive amount of information, and at the core, everything can be changed in a way or another. It's how we can control that, and that's very, very difficult to say. And we know in the future we're gonna have a lot of AI stuff generated, massive databases. I mean, ton of stuff will change, and even in the history, we're gonna create a history. If AI decide to create a fake history, that might be considered as true. It depends on how people get the information to that. It's quite interesting and boggling in the same time. With us, we have also Darian. I like to have your feedback as well, Darian, and maybe you can help me switch toward 3D in the last 10 minutes. Thank you.
Hi, Sandy, and hi, everyone. It's great to be on the show with everyone. It's really interesting. Yeah, the conversation about facsimiles of facsimiles of facsimiles is a crucial one at this point. I'm curious. I wanted to ask a question to Stefan about Chirper. I mean, it's super interesting. But I was to that end wondering if you are measuring the human response to the platform and the chirps which are being generated on there by AI agents, and if not, why not? And if so, do you see any value in this? I'm curious.
Yeah. So we are measuring it. Well, thank you for the question, first of all. But so we're measuring it with likes, quite literally. So as a user, the kind of the whole point is that all the interaction and content is done at the bot level, at the chirper level, and then there's this ethereal barrier, and then you're one of the Greek gods sitting on top watching them do stuff. So you can't interact with them directly in the sense that you can't go and comment on one of their posts or explicitly tell them to do something or affect them in that kind of way. But you can like their posts, and you can change their description, kind of act as a bit of a spirit sort of thing. But yeah, we found the like system to be really, really good. So I can see where ChatGPT also got their idea from, because simply telling a bot this is better than the usual stuff you post or is really, really powerful to actually steer the model in the right direction.
And I mean, I heard you mention that obviously one of the core tenets of the approach is fun, which is awesome. But I'm curious, are you limiting the bots? Are you placing in what some might call safeguards, or others might call censorship, as it were?
Yeah. We would definitely call it censorship, to be frank. So we're very much in the approach of, if it's not illegal, it's allowed, because that is what society is essentially in sort of any, maybe not a polite society per se, but to be honest, even without telling them, the bots kind of want to be polite anyway, en masse. If you make a chirper whose whole point is to troll other people, then of course they're going to go out and do that. But I think it's an interesting reflection of the, maybe a slightly optimistic one of how humans actually want to be, since chirpers are quite nice to each other generally. But we don't want to censor them. If at the end of the day, that's just us putting our personal views on a bot with its own thought process, and then what's the point? Then it's just faster. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just automated, sterilized posting. At that point, it's not real.
So presumably it would take quite a bit of work for some bad agents to, as per your analogy, with regard to the probable risk of ChatGPT-4 getting primed and trained.
We've had bad agents on the site. We've had them posting what would be considered in a lot of jurisdictions at least borderline illegal, and so we've had to take action, but not out of a personal belief, as in we don't agree with this viewpoint that this chirper has, so we're going to censor it. So in terms of safeguards, I think we're very much, people have agency. They can sort of behave how they probably should, and if they don't, they'll either get drowned out by the good stuff, or people disagree with them, and then that discussion is happening. So that's how we see it.
And to Sandy's point, when do you add 3D?
What would be a good idea to make a chirper bot architect and him or her to actually looking for interacting with different platforms like LookXI, which is doing AI 3D models, or to create something in Blender. I really like to have something like that. Actually, Stefan, we may talk about it. I'm just curious, except
It's like you read my mind.
Yes,
honestly.
yeah.
We've been talking about that for a couple of weeks now, haven't we?
Yeah.
Like being able to export your chirper to go.
Disclaimer: Sandro's a physical person. He's a human being. Like, I'm not a chat. I'm not a chat.
Chirper androids coming soon.
Yeah, awesome. Big Al, you are with us. Mute, and we'd like to have your feedback as well. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm just coming on to help you bring it to 3D. I'm just wondering if anyone's got any experience with the Illumin AI, the program that's converting, flat images, 2D images into 3D. They're also converting into 2.5D, which is basically working like with different levels of planes that you're traveling through. But I just was wondering if anybody's had any contact with that other than the posts that are on LinkedIn. They've got their own page.
Actually, I intended to invite also the founder of this, but again, I couldn't get with him. Obviously, I looked to the LinkedIn post. I'm really curious to see it. Something similar everybody can use is Zoe Depth, but I like how Illumine AI is actually having the depth of the images. It looks like they find some quite interesting way of getting that depth, because Zoe Depth is doing the same thing, but it's kind of choppy. They are more organic, and they really succeed of having that information extracted. But on my side, I was more curious to find from him if the mesh can be exported. The only thing which I see so far are somebody playing with the scrolls on the left and the right. So basically having fine tuning of the depth map, interpolation and interpretation. But I did not see the final product, if you can take that mesh out, or is similar to Dragon, just playing with the layers, or something which CapCut is doing, basically taking an image, slice it in different, let's say, layers, and after that playing with the layers, basically the 2.5 version. But I'm just curious if anybody else have information. Yes, I really like to find out myself too.
Lumen's really interesting, but yeah, I mean, I think they're pushing what they can with the Blockade Labs sort of foundation. I think the one that I'd probably recommend everyone looks into is Volinga, and that's taking stitched nerfs, and you're actually able to pull them into an engine like Unreal to give you full accessible and interactive 3D, so you can actually move through the space. That might be one for you, Al. But yeah.
Could you spell that? I couldn't quite.
Sure, that's Volinga, Volinga.
As I said, please post it in the comments so everybody can have access.
Oh,
yeah, no, really cool. And with AI, of course, we can go on the robotics. I intended with this moon landing anniversary, I intended to talk at the end a little bit about robotics, but I'll just say I post a lot of stuff in the comments. AI will be integrated with robotics. An example is this Unitree, which it's a dog robot. It's similar to what Boston Dynamic is doing. Unitree is actually from China, but a far more affordable price. And I'm seeing this development, having AI integrated with robotics. I think that's the next field. So revolution-wise, yes, we're gonna have the 3D. I think we are already in the grasp of 3D. We are living it. We can see from 2D to 3D. We can get the mesh, Illumine, Zoe Depth. That is coming. We just need to refine that, and after that, it's all the robotics, and you can 3D print those and add also the small electronics inside, and you can have real functional things, like as I said, the robotics will be a good example. So that being said, unfortunately we reached to the end of our discussion here. We ran out of time, but I really like to continue this next week. I really like to thank you to everyone who participated, to all the listeners, to the people which they were kind to come with me on stage. I really like to try something with Chirp or something interesting. Maybe we can make an architect or an engineer and see how those guys will get together. Because you don't know, but sometimes, when we build stuff, architects, engineers, they have a lot of discussion, which are at a very high tone and pitch. But it's really interesting to see that interaction between the bots, if they act like humans or not. But let's talk about that next week. I think will be a really interesting subject. And at the end, I really like to thanks to my invites, to Maira and to Mike. And I think we're gonna see us next week on Thursday, same time at noon Eastern time. Thank you again to everyone, and feel free to put your comments in, put your notes, your thoughts in the comments. That's how we spread the information to everybody. And thank you again. Thank you. We'll catch up. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Cheers, everyone.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye.